in this weird position. I'll see how long this lasts. I already can get my hands out of my hair. Anyways, I was gonna say today is just total. Even on the days that's supposed to be sunny, supposedly it's whatever this is. It's gonna be sunny, but I guess I don't know. I guess it's normal to have fog in June or something. I think it's the fumigation. I think we're tinted in and fumigated upon. So I don't know, and I can't even tell you how bad all my joints hurt. Like when I get up and start to walk, it feels like my knees are gonna go the wrong way. And you know what I was thinking is, I bet you, for one thing, I not being able to sleep, like go into a deep sleep and then just sleep all night, get disrupted. And then when I go back in, it's like I stay in REM sleep all night. Like I'm very active, I'm doing stuff. And I don't get very rested feeling. But so when I was, they were telling me stuff during the middle of the night. And one of the things that they were pointing out, that like some of the stuff is like splotchy or whatever, but one of the things they were pointing out is the frequency. I think it does something to clot blood. Like I think it, from what they were showing me and stuff. And then I started thinking, you know, if it's doing something to thicken it or whatever, like drink a lot of water, because that is how you keep everything flowing. And what was it? I just saw a study a couple of weeks ago, and I can't remember what it was, but it was something with the blood cells, and it could have even been something with their frequency, but it was showing the red blood cells, and whatever was going on when they checked them, they weren't functioning. They weren't holding oxygen. They were like collapsing and stuff. And then they did something and they puffed back up. But anyway, so your red blood cells can be making you feel super sick if they're slow moving and not carrying oxygen. So whatever they're doing with the chemicals and the frequency, that is a big part of it. And don't forget, just because, you know, something is happening for one person in some part of the state and it's not happening for another person in another area, that's totally normal. That's part of the game, is to not make it consistent. I mean, that's why they did this whole thing with all these different ways, so that they thought they couldn't be detected. In the old world where we were all asleep, they wouldn't have been. I think they've done this several times, generation after generation. That's what I'm saying, you know. I mean, they could wipe out huge amounts of people. And how we know? And they specifically wipe out our history. So they target certain groups and stuff, like older people. And but I was thinking, you know, who's outside right now during this time? It would be people who are gardening. Who has time to garden? Probably mostly older people, maybe some stay-home moms. But and then we've got the hippies and the people who've left the grid system, who've decided, hey, fuck that, I can handle life on my own. You know, maybe it's not gonna be spectacular going out to nightclubs, but you know, there's great joy and freedom. So all of those people who are going to be outside right now, who are going to be doing their gardens and stuff. So all of these chemicals that they're spraying on, and they start making you feel really sore. And plus people are just complaining about allergies, and that's your body's response to a toxin. So all of these people who are outside right now, a lot of those people are the ones that they want to wipe out. And so, you know, when I come in, because literally over the last couple of days, I have, I don't even know what it's called. I think it's like propagate. I'm not a gardener. I was married to somebody who was a gardener. They have a small farm now. Like, they were really into gardening. So that was their thing. It was not my thing. And I don't know, you know, I was into art. They were into gardening. Like, we had our own things. And so I don't really know about Which, think about this with relationships too. We should have more in common. There should be something where we have our own and be happy, but we should have more in common. But I did learn a lot of stuff from him. Like, I learned a lot about building houses and stuff like that. Like, certain things, I learned a lot. So, and I think that's what we all need to do. I see so many people on YouTube or on TikTok who are really stuck in their pain right now of realizing like they were in abusive relationships and shit like that. And people get stuck in their pain. And I think it's very valuable to look at the lesson that you learned. What lesson did you learn from this relationship, this toxic, abusive relationship? Because there's always a lesson in our own self-value, our own self-worth. And so there's always lessons being taught, but people get really stuck in the pain. There's a lot of people really stuck in the pain right now. But anyway, so if the people are outside, this targeted, because they know how to target certain people, and they're pouring all these chemicals. Oh, because what I was saying was, so I've been outside doing the ferns, because out behind me where I showed the green belt is like a big open place. And then those construction guys are over there. Man, they're there just all night long, all day, all night. And it's a whole group of them. Yesterday I talked to them and they said that they are fixing it to flip it. So that house is going to be flipped. So hopefully a good family would move in. That's better than them just renting it out and leaving it as a real crapped out house. So they look like they're really fixing it. They have a giant dumpster and stuff. So that's good. But, well, I don't even know how much profit they'll make for all they've got a whole group of people in there getting paid and they're taking everything apart. I don't know if they're going down to the bones of the house, but seems like a lot is going down. So I don't know how much they'll actually make off of it. Maybe they just enjoy flipping houses. So, anyways, back there in the greenbelt, and that guy, he has thousands. He never took care of his yard because he was so sickly. And so I don't know, ferns will start growing, a root system underneath, and then they start coming up all over. So they're kind of like ivy or something, and they'll start growing. So he has this giant fern factory back there. And when you go in there and you start spreading the leaves back, you find all sorts of little ones that are trying to grow. But because they're on this really strong root system, they're hard to get out. So I was out there and I was getting all of those. And I planted, I bet you 50 ferns in my yard over the last couple days. I'm so excited. I cannot wait until they all start. I'm going to do some footage to show them as they start, and then the footage as they, I don't think it's called blossom, as they grow. So anyways, I'm super excited and everything looks so green. And I love how it looks when it's in the trees like that and everything's green. It just reminds me of dinosaurs and stuff. And it's supposed to start raining later. And this one I'm actually looking forward to because it will really saturate the soil and really help them. But I have been building up this soil since I moved in because I created these planters. And so when I was clearing out the natural forest and trying to make it clear, so because it was so overgrown and so thick that a bird couldn't fly through it. It was very, very overgrown. So I had to really clean it all up. And so I started, and at first I had such huge piles of yard debris. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to take forever to get these in the dumps, in my trash thing. I'm just going to have to do it each time. And I did it for a couple weeks. And then they started telling me what to do. So I just started creating planters around the trees and creating these planters and putting all of the yard waste because all of this stuff falls out. Day before yesterday, I went outside, huge branches. It's probably from the wind or whatever. When they do these constant little wind storms, they say, oh, it's 9 miles per hour. Okay. Well, my wind chimes say it differently. So, there was huge branches down. And so I have to go out and clean them all up and everything, but more of there's tons of pine cones. There's just all sorts of stuff. So I rake it up and I put it in these planters. And so I've been doing that for a couple years, and then I've been getting, gathering all these rocks. I did the rock walkways, and then been doing all these rocks, creating these planter, planter effect around the planters, which I think it looks really cool. But it's all been directed. Like, I don't just come up with this stuff. I know people think they just come up with stuff. I don't think of life like that. So I have been getting all of the planters, and now as I've been planting this stuff, I see that this soil that I have created is highly nutrient. It is like composting piles. I don't have food in them or anything like that, but it's a lot of organic material, and it is creating this really great soil in my planter boxes. So now I've planted all these ferns. I have a whole bunch, and I think that they're going to really do well, especially because in that little factory back there was so many that were getting suffocated, and I took them out and I've given them places to breathe. And then plus, because I'm really into consciousness and everything, I feel like that they are all aware that they're in my yard. They're aware still that they have those ones back there. Like, plants are connected, like trees are connected. Trees are connected in their rooting system underneath, that they're all connected to each other. Like, they talk to each other and they vibrate, and like, we can go out and talk to them. You can get insights, like hold on to a tree, clear your mind, talk to the tree. I always go out and give my trees love, because they are under attack, just like we're under attack. Like, I can't even believe how many of my trees are struggling. I knew, though, in September, I talked about this in September when they sprayed that orange spray all over, and I kept saying things to people, and they go, oh no, that's a bug beetle, oh that's this, that's that. And I was like, well, how in the hell? Especially because I was driving with this one person in a car, and they were telling me, oh no, this is normal, oh no, I heard this is the bug beetle, blah blah blah. So as we're driving and there's splatters all over, I said, well then how did this bug beetle just come one night and get all the trees? Like, what the fuck? Like, god damn, people don't want to question anything. Like, they can't even imagine what this world is. It's like they're happy to live in their caves. They're happy to live in the dark ages. They're happy to just have a system to depend on. Like, so many people are having such a hard time releasing the system. Like, we got to somehow figure out how they'll keep providing us food and education and money. The money isn't even real. Their Western medicine doesn't heal us. It's all just profit over people too. So, but people just want to hold on. Oh, please, don't take it away from me. It's like, oh my God, you guys, come on. You got to have some independent spirit inside of you. Somebody who wants to go out and explore the world, who believes in themselves. It's like mental. But anyway, so I'm out doing all of these plants. So, I'm digging and pulling and doing all of this stuff. So, there's every reason to be sore. But to the degree that I'm sore, it's, no fucking way. And then plus all the other stuff, like my eyes, my nose just running nonstop. This getting more and more congested. And plus Stella, she's always a signal to me, because it's a big difference when she's out doing stuff, and then when she comes in and then she just lays there and cries and cries and cries. I can tell, because she, there's one when she runs the fence and then she can't walk. But then there's other ones when she just wants to be outside, when they keep spraying this shit and she just wants to lay outside. And then she comes in and she just cries and cries and cries. And I just feel like it's totally body inflammation, because when I'm walking around and I'm trying to like move my joints and stuff, it feels like that they're moving backwards or something. Something just feels so weird, and they hurt so bad. And I just think, like, if somebody comes in and they have no awareness of what's going on, then and the frequencies, you got the chemicals, the frequency, and the frequency can be clogging up your blood system. It can be slowing down, taking out the oxygen. Like, I don't know all of the science behind all of this stuff, but so if you're out there and you're older and you're doing things in the yard and you're getting body aches, you're getting you don't have allergies, so it must be that you're sick and everything hurts. So of course you're going to feel sick because you feel so run down. And then if you don't have well oxygenated blood and you're sluggish, then you just, oh, well, I must be sick. Oh my God, I could have the pox. I could have, the Dovik. It could be anything. Oh my God, there's so much sickness. I'm going to die. And then, some people run out and get tests. Some people go to their doctors. Some people go to the ER. Some people go to the urgent care. And it all depends on what your situation, what your soul is there to learn, what the experience is going to be for you. But it's definitely a way of rounding up and taking out mass population all at one time. And, and that's what they're actively doing. And you can see them doing it. Unless you're not paying attention. If you're not paying attention and you just think, oh, everything's fine, everything's normal, then, you're going to see what you're looking at. Whatever you look at is what you're going to see. Whatever you focus on is going to be your perspective. And it's so crazy. Yesterday, I had this person and they messaged me and they said, you sound very condescending. And I said, well, that's all perspective. I can't really do anything about how you perceive me or how you perceive anything in the world. That's out of my control. And, that's what people have to see. Like, I can't change me so that you don't feel like I'm condescending. That is your perspective. Like, how many people have we talked to? Like, think about this. You've been with a group of people. Somebody speaks, and then somebody goes, oh my God, I can't stand them. Somebody else, oh my God, I thought that they were great. Oh my God, we all have our different perspective. We're all getting something different from one another. We don't have to align with everybody in the world. We just have to allow people to be their own selves, be unique, not try and control them. Like this other girl who she started telling me I was a charlatan. I was saying something about the new age or whatever, and the world. And letting go of this old system and creating the new system, like it's what I talk about. And so she comes at me and she's like, oh, why don't you tell me how this is supposed to work? Why don't you tell me what the world is going to be or something like that? And then she didn't even wait. She just goes in and keeps going and says, you're just like the rest of them. You're all a bunch of charlatans. And then she comes, so I said, I have hundreds of hours of me talking about this stuff on YouTube. You can go, go do some research. Go look into stuff. It must feel really horrible and powerless if you're depending on someone else for your information. And so then she comes back and says, oh, see, you can't even say anything. You're just a charlatan. I was just like, so I did a video response to her because it's not just to her, it's to all the people that have this attitude. Like, you don't come at me and start telling me what I need to provide for you. I can tell you that there's something to look at. When I was on Twitter, I tried to give people information and all they do is shoot it down. Oh, that's not reliable. Oh, that's not reliable. They have to go out and look for it themselves. When they see it for themselves. And another thing, the universe is working on this. It's bringing them information and all of a sudden something will click. But their information that's bringing to them to wake them up, that is their own contracted, their own experience that they came in here to experience for the awakening. So it's part of the process is to know what you are interested in, know what you want to know about, start looking into it and expanding your mind. Get out of the limitations and the limiting beliefs that they have tried to structure your life around. So it's part of the process. And then I used to try and 2 years ago when I used to try and tell people and it would get you nowhere. And it would just be arguing and fighting all day. So my attitude is very much like, you got to look up this stuff for yourself. I do speak about this stuff and you can go in and watch me if you find me interesting. If you don't, there's plenty of people out there who would be in your wavelength, But and that's part of the empowerment, to go out and to search for your own information and to look for what it is that you need. And but these people who come in, oh, you owe me this, you need to give me this, and then they resort to bullying and calling you names and like, oh, you're not giving me my way, like a little child. It's like, we were teaching our kids. I know I started teaching my kids, even my oldest daughter who is 39, about bullying and how to treat people. So this is lessons that we've all learned. We've all been either teaching it or being taught about bullies. Like, it's been huge in the headlines for a long time, and yet people just ignore their own bullying behavior. That is part of this not seeing your shadow self. That's why it's important to call people out like that. Not to be mean, but it is so that they can bring it to the surface and look at it like, oh, I'm being a bully? Like, man, I didn't even realize I was bullying somebody. Like, that is all it is. Just have stuff come to the surface and then look at your own behavior. Acknowledge it. Be aware of it, you know? And if you don't like something, then you have an awareness to pay attention. Like, oh, I have automatic response. If somebody does this or says this, oh, if somebody with a baseball cap talks to me, I have an automatic response. Oh, if I see somebody in a flag t-shirt, automatically, I think they're a racist. If I, like, that is stuff for each individual to begin to change how they look at things, how they perceive, because it's all individual, unique way that we see the world. And it's meant to be that way. And it's not meant to be that Sue, Jack, or Harry tells me what I need to change. It's me noticing what I want to change. It is me connecting to my higher self. My higher self, I'm projected of my higher self. So excuse me, lady. My higher self can have an awareness of self. So your higher self is the one who's going to evaluate, judge, and decide if that is an aspect of self that it appreciates or wants to change. And there's things here you are here to change about yourself. That is the process of learning, awakening, opening your mind. Is this process for you to get an opportunity to recognize and change things in yourself. Nobody needs to tell you what you need to change. And if people are telling you, then they're crossing a line. Get in your lane, dude, because you don't have the right to tell anybody else how to change or who they need to be. That is you trying to get someone else to meet your needs. If you're noticing you need someone else to meet your needs, it's up to you to recognize it. And then to figure out, like, what are my needs? Why am I putting this on someone else? What do I need to do to satisfy myself? What do I need to do to take care of myself? And that is where, we get into that kind of state of being. That's going to stop a lot of toxic relationships, because we're so used to putting our problems off on who we love, who we think is there for us, and then they're constantly disappointing us. And another thing I have seen is people set up their situation. People are so dysfunctional and don't realize it. And it's so crazy how, God, she's just so, it's so crazy how people don't recognize, it's like they're so transparent. Like, you can see right straight through people now. It's weird, but you can totally see, like, you can see what they're doing without them recognizing it. Like, you can see behind, like, they could be doing one thing, but you see why they're doing it, and they don't see why they're doing it. So they don't even have the full view of self as you have of them. And it kind of is beginning to creep me out because there's a lot of creepy things about it. Like, think about it. When people have no awareness of themselves, that's creepy in itself. But just the way people are and their attitudes and their sneaky manipulative behaviors, it's creepy. It's really creepy. And people don't realize how tapped in they are to this negative, dark fucking vibration. This place is hell. And if you tapped into it and you're fucking sucking off of it, then you are feeding off of this dark, deep, low vibration energy, you know? And that is, and there's people who are, like, no doubt about it. And there's people who set up their own, you know, their own victimization by the world. They create the world the way they want it so that they can tell, like, they can go out and tell people they're a victim. So that they create the scenarios because they just need somebody to give them empathy. Like, imagine that. That is fucking sad. Really, think about it. I mean, it's behavior that we don't want. It's toxic, it's bullshit, and we don't want this kind of behavior to go forward. But when you really think about how sad that is, you know, how much people have gotten to the point of just becoming manipulative to meet their own needs. People are just so confused by life. I get these comments all the time. But today I did a video response to this one because they told me, I had said something like, you know, when I knew the government was lying, when I became suspicious of the world, something like that, is when I was a little kid and they told me there was no aliens because I already knew someone was talking to me. And so the response is, oh, you know, that's the demons. Oh, you got to be careful. There's the demons. You got to follow the Jesus. Jesus Christ will save you. And I was like, for one thing, I had a talk about this with my mom yesterday too, because I think she's starting to get what I'm saying about people just calling themselves, calling themselves, Christians, you know, grabbing hold of a label, but then not walking the path, you know, just like the person who I said wants me to be in an alliance, but they haven't said anything since, but, you know, probably because they know I'm going to say, hell no, I'm not being in a fucking food alliance and watching people starve. That is not my jam. So, but that person is Christian who has their Bible out all the time. It's like, does it say somewhere in that book? Did Jesus say, hey, you know, starve people, you know, hide, hoard? I think he said the opposite. I think he said, trust the universe, you know, that you will always get back what you put out. Like, I don't know. I think, but all these things are coming to the surface. But see how people have to see themselves. Like, you can see them from across the room, but they can't see themselves. And they have to, you know, begin to see it. And I told this person, you know, like, Jesus is a path to enlightenment. He's not rocketing down here to save anybody. He gave you the book, How to Save Yourself. Now it's up to you. And the place that demons reside is where we are right now. And, you know, you've already been dealing with devils. You know, and that idea of what a demon is, low vibration being who has no empathy or compassion and is only about self-sustaining. So, you know, we've already been living with those people. And when you are tapped into the consciousness of the universe, it depends on your vibration. Like, if you are, and this is what I try to get people to understand. So if you are lower vibration, if you're down, if you are negative, if you are open to hurting other people, then you can be tapping into a low vibration entity or consciousness that is misdirecting you. And sometimes it can be out of fun. Sometimes it can be out of trying to teach you something. Sometimes it can be out of just, you know, meanness or control. Like, every entity is different. Every entity is unique. You can't just say all of, you know, that's something that people have got to break free from. That's something that has been in this world, is categorizing and labeling and, oh, you're this way, well, you're that. Well, everybody's unique. You cannot package anybody in any group. So anyways, if you if you are trying to tap into the universal consciousness, then you won't know, because it will give you insights, downloads, whatever you want to call it, into information that opens your mind, that helps you see things in a broader perspective. That is a positive to me, to see things more clearly, to have more clarity, to have a deeper understanding. And then, like I said, they show me things, they tell me where things are, they help me fix things that I don't know how to fix. I mean, that is not demons trying to make my life better. Like, you can't get people over the hump. Like, they're so focused on the t-shirt with the flag on it, they can't see the person behind the flag, and that is each individual person. That is our responsibility, to break down those dividing factors, anything that triggers us, to notice it. And I mean, everybody has different triggers. Like, it could be anything. I mean, people are triggered by all sorts of strange things. But the whole thing is when the trigger happens and you notice yourself, you catch yourself, and it's not that easy. It's not like every single time you can catch yourself. And don't be angry at yourself when you don't. It's all part of the process. You've got to give yourself some space to learn and to adapt and to reprogram. I mean, this is a huge thing that's happening, and obviously it's going very slow for a reason. So it is slow as fuck, man. And then, when you have all of these physical ailments and stuff, it's just like, motherfucker. But, so the med bed situation. So the one in, Newport, the one who said, just text me when you want to come in, if I can get over to California. Of course, I'll go into that one because it's the 24 unit, whatever it's called, 24 screen unit, which is the most highly intense healing that you can get right now that's available. And then, but the person in Sedona, I was thinking it was Utah, but it's Sedona. That person is the one who's going to charge my crystals. So I've got some crystals ordered, and I'm sending them to them. And then they're going to charge them. And then I'm going to start. So I will, tell you what happens when I wear them. Like, if I start noticing my eyes clearing up, or even, the mind fog, or the joints just stop hurting, or whatever. So, I will keep talking about, I think, when I get back, I was just thinking, when I get back, from, Spokane, then I don't think I'll get them until I get back, because I don't think they'll get here fast enough. I don't know. I'll have to see. Hopefully. No, because she's got to get them, she's got to charge them, and then she's got to send them. So, yeah, I won't have them until I get back from Spokane next week sometime. And so then once I start them, I'll start monitoring and telling, if what I think of them. But they could help somebody else if they don't have more extreme issues. I think my issues are kind of more extreme because of the brain injury and the damage to my optic nerves and stuff like that. I think the reason my eyes are just getting so bad right now and so fast is the toxins, whatever it's doing, if it's doing something to my blood, to my organs or whatever. But I do think it's doing something to thicken people's blood or whatever. Like, I bet you there's a lot of people having strokes right now. I bet you there's a lot of people, I mean, you could have pulmonary embolism. You could have, let's see, what is that called? Because you can get a blood clot in your heart. It kills you instantly. In your brain, a stroke, you can sometimes live from a stroke. But I think all of that is with the frequency is doing something to people's blood to make it, make them sicker. So the whole thing is just as keep us sick. When I had said, like, I don't want one of those because it will be like a slow descent towards illness and death. But that is what they're doing to us all. Like, so hardcore. And it is like the slow, kind of drawn out arsenic poisoning, so that we will, support them with their medical facilities and their medicine. And, it's a huge thing now. If you won't take prescriptions or, what your doctor recommends, anything that your doctor recommends, then you aren't a good candidate for their system anymore. It's like, well, fuck off. You weren't a good candidate for my healing. That happened years ago. So, whatever. I don't care. And I feel like we're definitely rolling, quicker towards the healing ourselves. And it's all this environment. They just keep our environment so toxic that it's super hard to heal yourself. I mean, some people, probably have some really great talents and gifts. And I think we'll be all learning from people who have those gifts and talents, who can. So anyways, those were, it seems like there was something else I wanted to interject into that too. So it's like the weather, the toxins, the towers, the Lord. I don't know. I feel so out of it. I feel so out of it. It's weird because my brain feels weird. My body feels weird. I can't see good. And my mind feels like it's barely even here in my body. So I don't know. This world just gets stranger and stranger. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.